Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. It's been a few weeks now since the new Eater of Worlds raid Lair came out in Destiny 2, and since then it's took just until a few days ago for our clan to beat the final boss. Not through lack of trying, but we just couldn't get a good strategy down to work just right. We constantly be getting to the damage phase, but just quite simply not doing enough damage to make any run worthwhile. But finally, a new strategy came up and it has worked wonders. It makes the final boss really simple and will be a surefire way for anybody who hasn't completed it to finally get it done. I'm sharing this with you today mainly because I haven't seen anybody really cover a strategy, and most videos on YouTube just show 2-man Argos or 1-phase Argos, which is all well and good if you're a hero at the game. But if you're watching this video, then like me, I'm guessing you're looking for an easier way to beat this somewhat challenging boss. So let's get into it. Firstly, let's look at weapon choices. In the kinetic slot, I prefer the Better Devils, True Prophecy or Nameless Midnight, but any of your personal preferences here will be fine. Now in the energy slot, our entire fire team have gone with the exotic auto rifle, Hard Light. An interesting choice you might think, but its perks make for a great weapon in this boss fight. Its bullets over-penetrates its targets, leading to extra damage on adds. It also has no damage fall off, and it's great at landing shots consistently in the crit spot areas required in this encounter. I do definitely prefer this over the Cold Heart, to be honest with you. Lastly, for a power weapon, any rocket launcher with cluster bombs is ideal. So the raid rocket is definitely a favourite here. We will discuss what subclasses are best in the damage phase section of this video. So moving on, the main thing to remember from this boss fight is the more cannons which are charging at a plate, the more adds and minotaurs that will spawn in that area. So to overcome this, we split our team into two groups of 3. The first 3 players, we will call Team 1, are to be the first players to pick up the craniums. These are the things that you charge to make the cannons on the plates. These players are then to wait to see which one of the 3 plates, either solar, arc or void, the elemental orbs spawn at, i.e. the place where you will be doing the damage. Team 2 are the next players to pick up the craniums at the start of the encounter. Where they are to charge them is in correlation to what element of the orbs are shown at the DPS side. So at the solar plate in this example. So let's say it's just one of each, meaning we need 1 arc, 1 void and 1 solar cannon to move the orbs to start the damage phase. Team 2 are to charge 2 of their craniums in arc and void, with the third being any, as this will simply be used for damage during the DPS phase. As we already have 3 charging at solar, this is covered by Team 1, so that's that one sorted. Once Team 2's cannons are charged, they are then to collect them and go to where Team 1 are located at the solar plate. Now for the next part. Once Team 2 are at the solar plate along with the Team 1 members, the 2 who hold the arc and void cannons are to let them know that they are ready. The player in Team 1 who is designated as number 1 is to pick up one of the solar cannons, and all 3 of these players with the cannons are to shoot the corresponding orbs to the central area of Argos. The best way here is to tap the trigger, as to not waste the ammo in the cannon. Once all 3 of these orbs are in the central slot, this will clear Argos' shield and begin the damage phase. Just covering off on Team 1's numberings of players. This is for if there are more than 1 elemental orb of the same type. So, for example, if there were 2 solar orbs at the solar plate, then 2 is to pick up a cannon and shoot theirs. Likewise, if there's 3 solar, then all 3 players of Team 1 are to fire their cannons at an orb to start the damage phase. The same here is true for Team 2. If for example it's 2 arc and 1 void at solar, then 2 players are to charge arc cannons and 1 charges void. Hopefully that does make sense. Next up, I'm just going to discuss Argos' attack patterns during the damage phase, which are vital to be aware of to ensure success at beating him. He has 3 ways to fight back during this, one of which you probably have already felt, and that's his void cannon blasts. Just dodge these periodically as they're not too much of a problem here. Next up is his Detain triangle shield. He shoots these out at the start of the phase and just before the end. It's fairly easy to predict as he will move his head and charge the white coloured shield before shooting it towards your fire team. Simply move to the side to avoid this. If you are unlucky enough to get caught, just tell your team where you are to allow them to shoot it, as you are powerless whilst detained. Be careful though, as eventually you will float away and die. The last thing to watch out for here is the tracking Harpy exploders. These will come out after each of the Detain triangle shields. Watch out for them and either take cover or shoot them before they get to you. So that's what Argos will do. So let's look next at how you can maximise your DPS during the damage phase. First up, to maximise DPS is for those who have already got the cannons is to shoot Argos with them, and those who don't have cannons or haven't used them as yet are to pick them up and shoot them at Argos's head. These cannons have a great amount of damage output, and this method for charging the cannons ensures that 6 cannons are used to get the most damage as possible. The first thing as well to remember here is to spread out. This will slim your chances of Argos capturing you in his Detain shields, causing a frustrating team wipe as you all float away. Next up, you need to use your supers on Argos. If you're a Warlock, Nova Bomb or Dawnblade are great for this. For Titans, Sunbreaker's Hammers of Assault is the best, and obviously the Hunter's Golden Gun, which is even more useful with the Celestial Nighthawk one-shot damage buff. At this point, you then need to get your Warlocks to drop their Rifts, with Empowering Rift being the most useful to increase damage output, and get your Titans to place their Rallying Barricade to enable instant reloads on crouching behind the barricade. Also, Hunters, make use of your Marksman's Dodge ability to instant reload any of your weapons. To increase the effectiveness of your weapons, definitely use your power weapons first, making use of your rocket launchers, and then onto any auto rifle which you have, and in this case we had the hard light, so we was using that once we run out of rockets. Utilise these to the maximum extent to allow for as much DPS as possible. Bear in mind the Detain shield and Harpies whilst linking all of this together, and you should get a good third of his health down. Once the damage phase is over, Argos will replenish his overshield. Now comes the next part of the encounter, the wipe mechanic. This will start momentarily after the damage phase. It's important to remember that during this phase, he will always face the arc plate, making it easier to coordinate your fire teams to successfully complete this part. Basically, what happens during this stage is that Argos will drop his shield and enter an overcharged state, which if not prevented will insta-kill your fire team. Thankfully, it's fairly easy to overcome, so here's how. Argos has 6 crit spots on his body, 3 on each side, with 1 on an arm, 1 on his head, and finally 1 on his back. Only 2 need to be destroyed in each wipe mechanic stage to prevent a team wipe. The easiest method here is to take 2 out on one side first, i.e. the left arm and left side of his head. So once the damage stage is complete, get your fire team to get to the left side of his body to prepare for this bit. As in this example, you are on solar side, so just stand by here as this will be his left side as he faces arc. Once he starts the wipe stage, jump up onto the platforms which appear, and this is where the hard light comes in handy. Get it out, and everybody uses it to shoot his left arm first and then his left side of his head. Once both are destroyed, simply jump back down onto the map and start clearing out ads, getting ready for the next cannon charging phase. From here, it's simply repeat the steps above, and remember during the wipe stage to move to the right arm and right head before finally getting the 2 spots on his back. All being well, you should be completing this method in 3 to 4 rotations, finally defeating Argos and being teleported back in the light to the throne chest room to collect your well-earned loot. So there you go, A quick handy guide to completing Argos in the final encounter of the Eater of Worlds raid Lair. I've mapped out all the main points of this strategy and an easy bite-sized chunk format. If you want to revisit a section, I will put a timestamp down in the description below. Feel free to experiment with this strategy, but having 3 cannons charging at the damaged side plate is the main part of this strategy here. So, please let me know what you think of this video in the comments section below, and please like and subscribe for more future Destiny 2 content. Find me on Twitch and also follow me on Twitter. Thanks for watching, cheers,